This is it, huh? Here we are, the beginning of the GOAT series. This is a concept that was created, the brainchild of June, King June, for some time now. He came to me in our studios and said that he wanted to make this project and focus on people who have influenced the culture in some way, shape, or form here in whether they started here in Atlanta or just in the world in general. So we are here today, or throughout this series, you're going to find out more about people and how they more so influenced the culture here in Atlanta and abroad. So I think without further ado, I mean, we can just jump right in. My first guest probably doesn't need any introduction. He's the guy who came up with this whole idea in the first place. He's our test subject, really, so to speak, in this pilot episode. It's June himself, King June. What's up, sir? You good?
What's going on, brother? What's going
good,
on?
man. I'm good. I appreciate you coming. Finally, you made it, huh? You showed up an hour late. I'm just kidding.
You know how Atlanta traffic is.
Atlanta traffic it'd be trafficking. There's no lie about that.
It's unpredictable.
I'm just glad that you came up with this concept. This set looks great. This is all your vision of how you thought about doing this.
Do
you appreciate? Do you like it? I mean, yeah. Shout out to our team, our production team, for making this awesome setup. You know, I didn't do any of this, but yeah, only at U42 do you get this kind of quality content.
Shout out to U42. U42.
So yeah, what's up, man? This is your GOAT series, huh?
Yes,
what
sir.
are we doing here? What is this all about?
Look, I believe that, you know, everybody have a testimony, a journey, you know, as far as their career, no matter what they're pursuing. And I feel like it can be inspiring to those who are trying to find their purpose, trying to find their light, trying to discover, you know, what direction they want to take in life. You know, everything starts with an idea, you know, and I feel like this can inspire, you know, the next generation, you know.
So do you have any GOATs in your life? Do you have any people who you consider the GOATs and you and influence what you currently do?
Man, I have several. Where do I start? We can start with Tupac. That's my number one inspiration, as far as, like, you know, his contribution, as far as, like, just being a human outside of music. We can go all the way back to Huey P. Newton, you know, just for what he stood up for. You know, I took a lot of elements from him. Langston Hughes, you know, Donald Goines, Angela Davis. Just the list goes on, man.
Now, so it sounds like a lot of your influences are what we consider, in my African American studies class, Black revolutionaries. So a lot of these people are people who didn't take a lot of shit. You know, they were given a lot of shit from society, and then they fought back and they pushed back and said that I'm not taking a lot of shit. They either wrote about it or they spoke about it on bullhorns or whatever. So I just forgive me if I'm wrong, but I thought you were a filmmaker.
I am.
So why are you? I didn't hear one GOAT that I didn't hear one GOAT named as a filmmaker. Every GOAT that you named was some Black revolutionary.
I didn't get to that portion of my list.
No, it's okay. No, it's fine. No, that's totally fine. It's just who's at the top of your list was what, and that's totally fine with me. You know, I love every name that you called out. I knew, and so I appreciate them in that aspect. But I just thought you, being a person who makes films, would at least. Number 3 would be not even a Black filmmaker, but just a filmmaker, period.
The reason why those people came up first is because it has to start with, you know, from within, to me. You know, those people drew out, you know, elements for me to be a creative innovator. in a sense, because anything that I create or anything I produce has that foundation. You know, it's crazy. I have an unorthodox mind. I'm a radical. I'm not your traditional person, and I always challenge myself and others around me to think. And those people that I listed share those type of elements. And but if you want to know my top, influence as far as film directing, it have to go towards Spike Lee. He's my favorite director of all time.
That's a great one. He's one of the masters for sure. Okay. Well, I got that out of you, Spike Lee. That's a good filmmaker to have. So, okay. So I have a feeling then I'm just kind of picking you apart now based on your answers. And this is where I'm getting my questions from. You said something to the effect of you don't take, you've these people have influenced you as far as speaking up for yourself and speaking up for what's right. And you've taught other people around you to do the same thing. I mean, this is not the path of a filmmaker, to say the least, as somebody who's just this speaking out for everyone. And they do it in their films. I guess some filmmakers do it in their films. But it sounds like you were doing something else before you got into filmmaking, like you were in another world where you kind of either saw something in society that made you kind of opened your eyes a little bit, or you, maybe, you were raised right and you just kind of like, were working this job where you kind of saw that you weren't treated right, and that kind of got you out of wherever you were. So, yeah, what were you doing before you got into filmmaking?
Man, I was just living life. Well, actually, I've worn a lot of hats. I've done a lot of stuff that, I just, I took life lessons from. My militants come from my mother being in the military. So that gives me my discipline, state of mind, as far as like, learning how to control emotions, me being organized, clean, straightforward, blunt, and assertive comes from that. And, just going through my journey in life, I just went through a whole lot as far as like, life itself, I went from playing sports to indulging into street activity. I've done everything in that.
All right, now we got to pause. You're not just going to glaze over street activity. We got to pull that one and open that bag up and look in it and see what's in there. All right, let's pull this out. Let's unbox this. What street activities?
Okay. Mind you, I'm not advocating.
We're not. We're just talking about where you came from and where you are now.
Okay, so at one point in time, I tried to be a weed, distributor.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't my thing. I'm not personally, but I've, tried to sell weed and other stuff.
Did you make good money off of it?
Hell no.
I got friends who made good money off of it. So that's what I was asking. They made that their career. Like
it came in too slow. I didn't like standing outside all day. I was a pretty boy. I was a player. Like, I love being around women. I didn't want to go outside and smelling like outside. And then, it just wasn't my thing.
So how young were you when you were doing this?
About 14, 15.
Wow. Jesus.
High school.
Okay.
Just entering high school.
Gotcha.
That didn't work. I would say I did have the entrepreneur spirit at a young age. I started when bootleg was high, when Napster and all of that was in effect. I used to burn CDs and sell mixtapes at school. So I used to walk around with a playlist sheet form or whatever, and I had all the girls like, "Hey, make me an R&B playlist. This is the songs I want." So I used to go home. The process of dial up.
Yep.
Wait till nobody was home, and you got a clear lane to get on the computer, and I just sat there and download all these songs.
Wow.
And sold mixtapes for $5. I was successful with that.
That's so funny how people were so lazy to where they didn't do that themselves. They depended on you to
because everybody didn't have internet back then.
People didn't have internet, and I guess people didn't have CD.
No. I would say
CD
people
burners,
didn't. Everybody didn't have computers.
Yeah. Right.
Because, you know, like America Online used to give out free
Yeah, those free discs.
disc all the time,
Sure.
but everybody didn't have a computer.
Mm.
So that was short-lived because, you know, other people started, you know, saying, oh, he's making money. I'm selling them out of my locker. I had the whole display in my locker. Whoop,
Wow.
whoop, whoop. And people was like, I want to do it too. So they made my block hot. The principal came, shook all that down, and that was the end of that. I tried to be a pimp.
Not legitimately though. Like you meant like you try to be a ladies' man.
No, I was a pimp.
All right.
I was a pimp for 2 days.
I knew this conversation was going to be worth it.
I was a pimp for 2 days.
Oh, for 2 days? This is even
2
better.
days.
Okay, you got to talk
I
about
tried
each of
it
these
for
days.
2 days, man. I had just bought me a car. I met a girl at the mall, and she made me that. I didn't ask her. I just was trying to
She
holler at
wanted
her.
to turn tricks for you?
Yeah,
This girl
she
you
was like,
met?
yeah, I met her. I didn't know her from a can of
And
paint.
she said, I want to be your hooker.
Basically.
Not me,
She
more or
didn't say it
less.
straight up.
Yeah.
But like, she was just like, you know what? Because I was staying in a hotel at the time, and I had a car. And she was like, you got a hotel? I said, yeah. A hotel room. I said, yes. She said, you got a car? I said, yes. She said, let's work and make some money together. It didn't dawn on me what she was talking about at first until we hung out.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, hey, I just need somebody to drive me to locations or whatever. I'll give you a portion in gas or whatever. And if I need to do inbound, I take the, you know, I use the hotel room. You know, you just step outside or you just go somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's
mind you, I was
interesting.
paying like $89 a night at the hotel I was staying at.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, that's a free ride.
Look, at least
So-
that you're paying for your lodging, if anything.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, she could pay for all that. I just didn't like the fact I had to step out of my own room so she can do what she had to do. And it's
And
like,
this is your girlfriend?
no,
Okay.
I just met her.
You just met this girl.
It's like she's a complete stranger. And I'm like, you know what? After the second day, I was like, nah, this is not what I want to do.
That's interesting. Like, when was this? Because I feel like this is what OnlyFans is now.
Nah, this was back in like 2011,
Oh, okay.
2013,
Okay.
something
Yeah.
like that.
So it was over 10 years ago. All right.
Yeah.
So, so a pimp was not the move.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was too risky, and it was just I didn't like the driving around waiting, and it's like I have things I have to do too, but I gotta sit out here while you.
It seems unfulfilling.
Yeah, it
Like,
was just-
like I mean, not for the women that work for you, but I mean, maybe it's for them too. But like as a pimp, I feel like you do a lot of waiting,
yeah,
a lot of
waiting, I'm
sitting
like,
around. Whereas I guess you could be planning maybe for your next trick or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
trying to figure out how can you increase your employment. I don't know what the hell pimps do, but I mean, it just seems like I feel like you do a lot of sitting around.
Yeah, it wasn't for me. I'm too active. I think I have ADHD. Sitting in the car for hours is not what I want to do with my life.
Yeah,
And
clearly.
I have sisters, and I was like, if my sister does this,
Woo.
I will break her neck.
That's
Like,
that's
for
the thing
real.
too. Is you got to think like, what if my
Like-
mom was doing this, or what if my like? You always
Exactly.
put yourself in that mentality of, what if your sister found out or whatever, and then you just
Yeah.
feel so dirty when you.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
like
I can't do
I
this.
personally was never into paying for sex or anything like that. So it was like I couldn't push myself to continue that
Right.
lane. But I did take some life learning lessons from that. You know, I did take some from that. So
So you took some life lessons from that. Did you apply any of them? Let's fast forward to what you are currently into then, which is your current passion of filmmaking. You do music as well. You
Right.
produce music. So how did you take those elements of pimping and street activities? Like, what did you learn from that helps you in your process now?
I would say that it gave me a sense of value of self, because I've learned just by observing this particular person that she didn't see her potential. She put her life in somebody else's hands. Just to know that you just approach a stranger and say, hey, control my life. I'm like, really? But I have enough morals and value for self that I couldn't continue to do her like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that right there just gave me a sense of like, June, you gotta know who you are. You gotta control your own narrative, and treat people how you would want to be treated. Like, would I want somebody to do that to me? Like, obviously, she's not educated. She wasn't educated. I don't know what she does now. I hope she's still living. But
what if she's not? Oh
I
my
hope
God.
she's still living. I hope she's,
She's
elevated
found her
from
place
that.
somewhere. Hopefully, OnlyFans has made a success out of her. I'm like,
She-
it was like, why are these people still hooking? You have a whole
Yeah.
OnlyFans world out there where you can make millions of dollars and not have a person touch you.
Yeah.
That's whatever.
Yeah.
Some people like
But,
being hookers.
it's just like, like I said, one day I would like to have a daughter. I have sisters. I have a mother.
Right.
Females or women that I care about. I wouldn't want them to go through that, and that goes against what my overall principles are. I can't contradict myself, so I had to leave.
I'm glad you have those principles. Like, I have a feeling those people who are in that world don't just live a motherless, sisterless, daughterless world. Like, they have to have some kind of female influence in their life, but they still find a way to balance being a pimp. Yeah. But I mean, again, to each their own. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah.
But like, it seems like you already found. It seems like you found your calling eventually, and that's all that matters. So tell me about your first project. I don't even think I know your first film project.
My first film project was called SunTrust Leland.
Say it one more time.
SunTrust Leland.
Leland.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a short film. I linked up with Young LA, the rapper from Atlanta, and he was like, June, I got this project called SunTrust Leland 2, mixtape or whatever. And he's like, man, we need to do some marketing. What can we do? Me being the innovator that I am, I'm like, why don't you just do a short film based off of it? You're talking about scamming. Why don't you do a movie about scamming? And then put your songs and stuff in it, So he was like, man, that's a good idea. So next day, we shot it.
Wow.
No script. We did it in one day.
Starring him?
Starring him, yeah. And then, it had Zaytoven in it, Jugman.
Wow.
They all came at one phone call, That was my introduction to it. And I shot all that from a phone. And I was like, you know what, I like this. I'm gonna try some more. And, that opened up the doors.
So you started, your first film was shot on a cell phone?
Yeah, 11 Max Pro.
Oh, on an iPhone?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had it in hand. I didn't have a gimbal.
Oh, you didn't have a gimbal
nothing.
to hold it? You usually using two hands.
Yeah.
So how did you, and you edited all yourself too, and you got all that, did all that work on your own?
Yeah.
How did you, what did you use as like a foundation, or did you use any kind of like structure to like make your first film? You didn't just up and film it on your camera, right? You had to have watched something, or you studied some other technique and said, oh, that's how you film, and then you did it, right? Or did you just, I feel like filming today?
To be honest with you, I just winged it. Before I do anything that I pursue, I was a fan first.
Right.
So it's like I was a film, yeah. Specifically, I was, like I said, I'm a big fan of Spike Lee. I know all of his movies. I just studied it, just based off of what I've seen. I say, okay, I could probably do this. I could shoot at this angle to capture this. Mm-hmm. People will never know I shot it with this phone. When I got out there, we was just, calling out scenes as we were shooting them. But the further and further I got in the process, I started implementing, okay, we can make this a story. Okay, we can just do this right here. We connect the dots. Like, okay, if you do this right here and say this before here and shoot over here, I start developing the story. I was like, okay, now it makes sense. We're not just shooting random shots, So it was a process that I learned along the way.
So you learned all of that just on an iPhone. What's the most expensive piece of equipment that you've purchased since then to help you with, of course, filming? And how long did it take you to learn that?
Well, as of today, well, then I had the iPhone.
Like, what are you shooting with now?
Okay, today I'm shooting with 3 Black Magics, and like I have a behind the scene crew. I have 2 people that shoot my BTS. They both shoot with 70s. Those are the most the most expensive as far as the camera itself, but I just collected and just accumulated equipment from the past, for the past 2 years. I started in 2020 up until now. I got a whole room full of equipment now.
Wow. Started from the bottom now.
Yeah, I literally man, look, I started off as like a graphic designer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I knew how to, maneuver on the computer. But I didn't have anything, literally. So just to see in 2 years that I have all of this stuff, it's like, man, I'm in it now. I'm devoted. I ain't no turning back.
Wow.
So it's like, man, it's film got my heart right now.
So tell me about your newest project then.
The newest project, what can I say? It is called Hot Girls. And to me, it's going to be groundbreaking because I've done a lot of research. I put my life on the line shooting this. I've reached out to, 60 cast members. Well, I recruited 60 cast members to get it done. As of now, well, up until this project, I was a one-man production team, and it was hell doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I had to shoot one scene. I had to shoot it multiple times just to get different angles, but you would never know.
Wow.
And the storyline is more detailed. Overall, the subject is low-hanging fruit for me, but the storyline is very intricate. It's not just something that, was just put together.
Can you tell us a little bit about, without spoiling things? We don't want to, we want to make sure everybody gets the full experience of the movie when they watch it. But do you have anything you want to share as far as just an overall synopsis?
Of course. The story is mainly about 5 sisters. They was inherited some money from their late mother that died. And in order for them to get that inheritance, they must make sure that their youngest sister complete school and stay out of trouble. And they have to stay out of trouble as well. So I guess the attorney that, had the information, as far as the estate, was, a scammer, come to find out. She finessed the paperwork to where if they messed up, all the money would basically go to her. But she disguised it as a nonprofit organization. So she was like, well, if you all fuck up, this money's going to this organization per your mother's wish, which was all a lie. But I'm not going to tell you the plot,
Yeah, don't give me any twists. Don't give me any.
Yeah, I ain't going to give you the plot twist.
Yeah,
I'm going to let y'all, find out for
That's
yourself.
a good start. Yeah, that's all we needed to hear. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds scandalous enough. I mean, like you said, the world, I don't want to call it low-hanging fruit, but people love and latch on to simple stories.
Yeah.
The stuff that they can relate to, the stuff they see on the news. While I hate stories like that, I feel like they are probably the most compelling to write about. Do you think that you find yourself writing more about that low-hanging fruit that you were just talking about?
No, I think this is going to be like a one and done for me because it's too much of it out there. I don't want to, put out fruit no more. I want to put out fucking, what else grows from trees?
I mean,
I don't. It's like me. It's like that door is already. It has a line wrapped around the building.
Sure.
I want to go to another building, so to speak.
You want to create some new fruit. some brand new, something nobody
Yeah,
tasted
let's make
before.
some vegetables.
Hey,
Let's go on
man,
the
let's
ground
grow
with
some,
it.
Yeah, let's grow some shit
You
nobody
know,
ever made before.
Yeah, so it's like I want to get more into like documentaries.
Oh, okay.
Like if I can have it my way, I'll do Tupac documentary over.
What keeps you from doing a documentary then? Because I've thought the documentaries will, anybody who wants to pursue someone and kind of do it and do a documentary on that person, they can just do it. Like it's like a research project. That's the way I always thought about it. Like I guess you got to get permission or whatever from the estate of someone if they're dead, or get permission from the person if they're alive, and that's fine and dandy and that's easy to do. But you just made it sound like as if like the Tupac documentary's already been done, so you can't do it, and you can't do another one. What's wrong with having multiple documentaries out in the atmosphere?
Because that was deemed the official one, like far as not
Are you talking about the
documentary but
movie?
biopic.
Oh, okay, I was about to say 'cause that was a biopic. Biopic or whatever.
Biopic, yeah. So it was like we've waited 20-some years.
It wasn't that good of a movie though.
It wasn't that good.
No, that's what I'm saying. It got really bad like buzz. I saw it at a movie screening, and people walked out like they just really didn't. It wasn't telling the right story, and it
didn't do him justice at all, because he was more complex than when he got out of jail in '95.
Right.
That's where it started, and it was based around that particular time period.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, he was more than a artist. They should have went back to his mother's story instead of just glimpsing over it and just going to that point. They should have talked about how his mother was a Black Panther. She was in jail for trying to blow up a building. I think it was a police precinct.
Right.
Whatever. They should have dove into that. And then his relationship with his sister and his mother, they should have dove more in detail with that. And then also, like, his life off camera, like who he was as a person. They should have dove into that.
Yeah, he was a deep guy, man. I mean, just the fact that he had a whole book of poetry or books of poetry, probably. I mean, and just he went to art school. I mean, it's just I think he needs more credit to his life than just being a rapper that died.
Yeah, it should have been a flip. Like, music should have been like the smallest portion of the movie. Yeah. It should have been,
and that was basically all the movie was about.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
And they focus a lot on that soundtrack. I think when biopics or biopics are made about musicians, it's really just a push for the record labels to promote their music, so they can kind of get their music going again. People can go and download it and listen to it.
That makes sense.
And get those. I mean, you see it happen with like Bohemian Rhapsody. Queen's numbers went through the roof. Mm-hmm. Whitney Houston, you're going to see this new movie that comes out with her. You're going to see her music go through the roof and
Didn't
stuff.
they already do a biopic?
They already did one of her, and they're going to do that one didn't come out of movies, though. This one is.
It was on Lifetime,
yeah,
right?
Something like that. So they're going to do one theater. But I think the whole point of doing nowadays of doing biopics is to, like I said, promote just soundtracks when it comes to musicians like that. But like you said, Tupac is so much more than a soundtrack. They should even consider making a TV series out of him, maybe.
Yeah, it should have been like 3
a mini
hours
series
long.
Or something,
Yeah.
like multiple episodes. I feel like that's something you could cover. His life is something you could cover to be meaningful over 10 episodes.
But my dream project, though, is doing Marvin Gaye.
That's what I was going to ask you. It's so funny. Like, my question was, what is your dream project?
I have multiple.
So you said Marvin Gaye. You want to do like a biopic about Marvin Gaye or a documentary?
Biopic.
Okay.
That's what I meant to
And that's
say.
supposed to be one that was in the works a while back, and it never came out or anything. But
I want to do one on him. I think Michael Jackson to have a dope biopic, like an official one. I don't think you would consider.
have we ever seen a Michael
biopic.
Jackson movie? No.
It was
We've seen
like
Jackson's
the
Jackson's
American
movie
Dream.
series.
Yeah, it
American
wasn't-
Dream was a great series too, by the way.
I think it was too long.
Well, I mean, it's a mini-series. You had to tell the whole story. But also, again, it doesn't tell the Michael Jackson story.
It just
tells
told the family
Jackson's
story.
Yeah, and this is
so
like, what do you want to focus on? I think a lot of people want to focus on Michael Jackson. I would love to hear more about Michael Jackson. Like, did he do it or not? We don't have anybody that wants to tell that story or not, in addition to the music, whatever.
We want to know why. I think I know why he did it, but why he make the transformation,
Or
like why
that
he
too,
altered
yeah.
his
Why?
body.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that people have that just have never been. No one has ever tried to. I'm sure somebody out there has the answer, but nobody has tried to put it on.
I think Janet Jackson probably know. His brothers probably know, or his mother.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. They have to. His closest family that's still alive have to know what what really happened with him. But I mean, that's definitely an interesting one to document and to want to see. Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson. Who else?
Who else, man? I think that'll be it for now. Well,
So
no.
musicians.
Let's take this back. Take that back. Outkast to make a dope one.
That'd be a cool story to see, actually. Just, you don't really see that happening too much in films.
Like Outkast, or you know how they doing like the Wu-Tang series on Hulu?
And it's a dope series.
They should do that with Dungeon Family.
That would be really cool to see, actually. I would not mind watching. First of all, I love anything that's filmed in Atlanta, any kind of Atlanta-based show.
I love it.
And then when you make it with a culture, like historical cultural reference like that, that's definitely, I think, worth watching. And so what are we going to do to make this happen? I don't know. I feel like some people.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make
and
that happen.
U42 knows some people, so we can probably let's make some shit move, and let's get an Outkast biopic made. I mean, you are the king of right now of making these films, and you keep cranking them out. And so, I mean, you should keep that ball rolling. I mean, have you consider Sister Souljah a biopic to some extent, right?
Actually, no. It was everything in the story was fictional.
Okay.
It was an experimental piece.
Okay.
Learning curve. It came out decent.
It did.
But me, I don't like to look at my work. I don't like to hear my music. I don't like to look at my paintings. I don't like to read my books. Once I create it, they go to the next. But soon as I finished that, I went right back to the lab and started writing my next project.
Well, that's what's up then. I mean, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go right back and keep working. And so we hope that, like all goats, you just go right back in and keep working after you do all the work that you do. And we can't wait to see what your next project is going to be. We can't wait for whatever King June puts out in the future. We can't wait for Hot Girls, of course. So we look forward to more from this GOAT, and we look forward to more from this GOAT series. So stay tuned to U42 and to the King June Network for more content like this.
Bless.